People in the place, pay attention to me. I'm gonna tell you a story about an MC or a rapper. That's a person who rhymes to the beat, a musical rhythm on city street.
Hey everybody, it's the Cannon Cruisers. I'm JD.
And I'm Randy.
And we're not going to rap, so don't even start that. Alright, so today we're talking about a movie called... Oh great, I just spoiled it. It's called Rappin, folks, from 1985. And if I sound annoyed, it's because Randy's trying to rap.
And as people who know me know, don't get Randy starting on any sort of musical theater or rapping. Because I'm terrible.
Yeah, he is. All right, so this movie is technically a sequel to two other movies we covered called Breakin and Breakin 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Tell me if you've heard this one before, JD, and I'm reading this directly off of Wikipedia.
Uh-huh.
Rappin' John Hood, played by Mario Van Peebles, an ex-convict, attempts to save his neighborhood from developers and hoodlums.
Which isn't quite the actual plot of the movie for most of it, but it does describe what happens in the movie.
But wait, you didn't tell me if you heard this one before. Let me bring up Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So yes, people, this movie is set in the same series, kind of. I'm doing air quotes here. Mm-hmm. It's largely unconnected. There's nothing connecting them except for the inclusion of Ice-T rapping.
Yeah, he raps a few times in the movie.
And I'm not saying rapping. I'm saying rapping with the apostrophe always because... Mm-hmm. That's the name of the movie.
And we have to keep consistency. But other than that, the movie is largely unconnected, except that if you like those movies, you'd probably like this one as well, because it's the same thing.
So the complete lack of Lucinda Dickey is a travesty, because Lucinda Dickey is a fucking icon. I want that on a t-shirt.
You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head right now. All right, so...
this is the witty repartee that you always join us for every week.
Yes, this is going to be a disaster of an episode, everybody. Because of this, let's just cut straight to the trailer, all right?
Now John Hood's his name, rapping's his game. Word manipulation's how he gained his fame and life. Robin Hood, he's honest and true and always down with his partners, the Wild Things crew. Rappin'.
What's on your mind, man?
Rappin'.
John Hood.
Rappin'.
I'm gonna fix your Rappin' Hood.
And we're back.
And we're back to talk more about our general impressions of Rappin'. So, Randy, don't start rapping, but tell me what you thought.
Can't stop, won't stop until I get to the top of that mountaintop. Oh god, this movie. That's kind of my reaction. My initial impression is just kind of like, hey, this movie seemed okay, and then I fell asleep for a little while, and then I woke up and said, oh, hey, it's over.
I was very fortunate that by the time I asked, is this movie almost over? The movie actually did end like a minute later, so I won on that aspect.
So there are people who actually, there's kind of a cult following around this movie in the same way that there's a cult following behind Breakin 2 and Breakin. I like that I went in reverse order, not the proper forward order.
Yes, I noticed.
Because I'm doing it in the order of possibly the worst to the best of these films. So yeah, my overall impression of this film has not been very good. Mm-hmm. I did have, like, near the beginning, I did have some nice chuckles, like a good, like, yeah, this seems to be the same vein as it, and then it got boring.
Yeah, that's my general impression, is that it's a boring movie that doesn't know what it wants to do and has no idea how to focus properly. It goes all over the place. My
feeling is that they saw the success of Breakin'. Mm-hmm. And while they were rushing into making Breakin' 2, making assumptions here, people, they immediately started shooting Rappin' as well because they wanted to capitalize on this as well as fast as possible.
Feels like
and they could probably only get Ice-T for one day for all three of these movies. So
yeah, so they just had him do everything at once.
Ice-T is the only connective tissue between the three movies. It's not set in the same place.
Nope.
The reason why we didn't really go over the cast is because other than Mario Van Peebles, you probably heard of nobody in this film. Like, I recognize nobody other than Eric LaSalle.
Yeah.
And that's because that's Eric LaSalle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so because our general impressions are not the most positive, we might as well just go to what we actually liked about it.
The reason why this is going to be a travesty of an episode, as we were saying, is because the movie is not great. Mm-hmm. It's... well, before we go to our reviews, what's the highlight? What did you like about this movie, JD? What was your highlight of this film?
My highlight of the movie was, as I said before, at the very end. It was the best part of the movie because it's one of those scenes where, in a musical, it's basically the epilogue where everybody sums up everything that happened at the end and where the relationships are going forward. And every single character in the movie, whether they rapped or not, starts rapping. And it's so ridiculously funny because the music styles change. Some characters really have no rhythm at all. It's marvelous.
Yes, I will concur with you on that, and I have to add in the fact that no matter how bad the actor was in the side, like the side characters in that final scene were, they still rap, except for Mario Van Peebles, who they overdubbed every single line of his movie, like every single time he rapped by reports say either Ice-T or Master G.
It was probably both in different scenes.
No, because Ice-T wrote most of the raps, or all of the raps, for the most part, yeah. But in this scene, it's obvious everybody else is rapping, except for Mario Van Peebles.
Yeah. It's a very noticeable overdub.
There's also another pretty good song earlier on in the film called Snack Time.
Oh, yeah.
That's just kind of just ridiculous. If this is what you want from a movie, you want just a sense of ridiculousness to it.
Yeah, that would roll over into the lowlights, honestly, is that I don't think it was ridiculous enough in that it didn't embrace the rappiness part where they're talking about food and going out with girls and stuff like that.
They played lip service to it. It was like how Breakin and Breakin 2 are dance movies, so they fit in dancing in every single aspect of it as much as possible, right?
The first one's more organic than the second one, yeah.
Second one, they really force everything. It's more like a series of music videos and vignettes. This one, they strip out the music video element and make it more into a series of vignettes, which may or may not have some sort of rapping in it, or may not, like like that final scene of the movie before the final scene that we like, before the closing of the court scene is just kind of a mess where they win the day by rapping, but doesn't make any sense. So the low light of the film is that they don't make it. This movie's not cohesive. I read you what the plot of the movie is earlier, and that's kind of the plot of the movie, but the plot is largely disconnected and just trying to put them into situations and not really doing it very well.
Yeah, everything is kind of tertiarily related, and then they intersect. But when they intersect, it's just flat. There's no real dynamicism. You know. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Dynamism.
Yeah. There's no hook to the movie.
They didn't even work into the. Well, they kind of did, but they didn't of the whole fact that his name is John Hood, a.k.a. Rappin Hood. Yeah. There's a large sequence within that Snack Time thing I just told you where it's literally him robbing from the rich, i.e. the grocery store owners, to give to the poor because they live in this very poor community.
That's an element that wasn't used very much.
Other than that one scene, it's like he's an ex-convict. And it's like, oh, it's for assault. Assault of what? Who did he beat up? No, we don't know. We get nothing of his background other than it's like almost to give him credit. Like to give him like street cred, and it's just like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, nothing makes sense. It's like he had people like trying to bang down his door to get him to sign contracts, which he finally does at the end, to be a hit megastar rapper.
Because the girl Dixie just happens to work at a record company. I mean,
we're kind of going around about because the cast is not phenomenal. It's
not an organic movie.
It's not an organic movie. The cast members are unmemorable. The only reason why I remember Dixie is because we were trying to determine if they were making all a bunch of Robin Hood references, and then we realized because we heard somebody say Marion, but apparently that might be Moon according to this chat cast list I'm looking at. Yeah. But the characters were non-characters. They were just kind of like you have your Mario Van Peebles as Rappin' John Hood,
and then you have the bad guys,
and then you have the bad guys whose names you don't remember. You have Thorndike who's just there. It's like it's not I guess it kind of brings it into my review of the movie. It's not a good movie.
No, it's not a good movie, unfortunately.
I early in the movie. I'm sorry, I'm stammering here, but early in the movie, I literally looked at JD and I went, I'm trying to determine if this better or worse than Breakin' 2.
And that's where we part company because
and then as I'm watching it, I'm going.
There's no question.
I'm like, I think right now it's on par. Like immediately after I said that, then it got into the long, boring thing where I joke about falling asleep at that part, but it's just kind of like I checked out. I was done because the movie just.
Yep. Movie's not good, unfortunately.
It's like I'm gonna have to give it 2 stars. You can tell that this is a mess for us talking about because the movie's a mess. There's nothing really to grab onto and talk about.
I was hoping this would be closer to the first Breakin' movie where it was like silly, but it was enjoyable. It was coherent.
It's like JD was hoping I would start like gushing over Tasia Valenza, who played Dixie, as much as I gush over Lucinda Dickey.
That's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen.
But because remember, her name's Dixie, so and it's not Dickie.
Yeah, I would also give it a 2. It's, to me, like I gave the first Breakin a 3. I gave the second one a 1. This is in between. It's not as good as it's not as good as Breakin. It's not as abysmal as Breakin 2 because that's very difficult to do, but it's not good.
It's like we're not really giving it justice to and how messed up our recording is on this. It just it's the movie has confounded me in a way that I wasn't expecting today.
The movie's a mess. It's hard to talk coherently about. It's not very coherent itself.
We also might be hungry.
There's a possibility on that one. But
Randy wants pizza.
Don't start rapping. We're going to have to end this episode now because he's going to start rapping. All right, everybody.
Oh, my name is Randy and I'm here to say...
Shut up. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time. And peace out.
I see those cakes and I start to go wild.
His main squeeze is Julia Child.
The art of eating takes aptitude.
But you better develop some fortitude before your body has a horizontal attitude.
But when I'm in the mood, it all looks good.
Your problem is you just love food and attack.
Come on, snack that. No more. Don't even want man. Come on, not that pain. Wait a minute, fat. No, you can't do that. I got a pop star. Oh, come on. Look what you're doing, man. Oh, what am I supposed to do now?
What the hell is this?